Everybody, welcome to another Thursday night episode of 3+1, the podcast. What we're doing tonight, a very special look at what's happening and what's really impacting America at this moment. It's a crucial time with a lot of really big news, and to really help this happen, we have our two entertainment correspondents. I am just CJ Clayton, as well as the one and only Real Oliveira. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Oh, I should have followed CJ and put my IG name, but
we will share that IG with everybody out there. Again, you're the official lifestyle correspondent. So we will definitely share that Instagram and that IG information, with the world. How are you guys doing? Tracy is actually literally right now doing a live play. It's like a live reading of a play by Pearl Cledge that is really, a big thing. So Tracy, we shout you out and wish you the best. We know that you've done a great job tonight, and
yes,
we know
and I saw her on Sweet Magnolias. I was like, "Come on, Pastor Tracy!" Yeah,
the one and the only Pastor Tracy, and she was in the Doom Patrol. Episode 4 of this season of Doom Patrol. So she's had several.
Panther, right?
She's a Black Panther.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out for that. And a lot of great things going on with Tracy. So we're excited for her and can't wait to have her back. But at the same time, we do want to talk about so many things that are happening and really just kind of jumping right into it. For our viewers out there who are watching and joining with us, we definitely want you to engage with us in tonight's chat and in the dialogue, because there's a lot to talk about. The Republican National Convention is on. We won't take up too much of your time, but we definitely felt as though this week was a week that we wanted to share with our audience, starting with the discussion of the brutal shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This young man, 27 years old, with his children, pulled over, the cops wanted to detain him, and during that time frame, he was walking back to his car after pulling away from the cops to be with his children, and they shot him 7 times in the back.
7.
An unarmed Black man again being assaulted and a victim of police brutality. Really opening up the floor to get your thoughts on this situation, both CJ and Laurel. Kind of what are you guys thinking and what needs to happen?
All I can say is, first of all, it was 8 times he got shot, actually, and he's now paralyzed.
We pray that he's not paralyzed. Like, what I'm saying? I know that's the diagnosis.
Right.
I thought that they confirmed that he was paralyzed. Well, I pray that he walks away from this, but
I pray that he is not paralyzed, that is not the fate. We got the one and only Candy. Welcome, my love. I'm so glad you made it. We're talking about Jacob Blake, and we're talking. We know tonight's the Republican. We know tonight is the Trumplican National Convention. We're only going to do about an hour, so that once the major speeches start, people can watch and engage that. For those who want to watch, if you don't want to watch, I hope you don't watch it, because I really do want you to boycott. I really want President Trump to have a heart.
I mean, the RNC. I'm sorry, I don't really care about the RNC, honestly.
I haven't been watching, honestly.
Yeah. I watched it through the night. I was at some friend's house, and they had it up or whatever. But
and we're going to talk about those friends. That's on tonight's rundown. But we're talking for a brief moment about Jacob being shot 7 times in the back, and then we're going to talk about all the consequences that have happened from this brutal attack on his life. So just wanted to catch you up, Candy, on that. And CJ, you were saying, and Laurel, I know you guys were both speaking.
Well, let me just say, I personally, a lot of times on my platform and just in general, I speak on what is currently happening to Black people in America. I have no problem speaking on it. I don't know why these people use their platform and they're afraid to voice what's going on. But needless to say, me personally, I am just exhausted with singing the same song over and over and over again, and constantly trying to prove or show to those who don't believe that our lives are valuable. Or I read something that was saying, like, white America projects this image like unless you're college educated or you have some type of esteem about yourself as a Black person, then that's the only way your life is valuable. And here you have this young guy, 27 years old, shot 7 times like an animal, like almost as if, to me, I cannot digest that over and over and over again because it is incredibly overwhelming. And I read something yesterday that really it really teared me up because it talked about how they shot this man 7 times in front of his kids, but then they did the same thing to Philando Castile. When I saw the video of Philando Castile years ago, I was so devastated. I was in college at the time. I couldn't go on with my day because I could not believe that you devalue Black life so much that Black children don't even matter to you, where you have a humanity about yourself where you're like, you know what, let's not do this in front of children. You would do that in front of his children, and to me, that just shows a level of wickedness that I cannot personally continue to combat with, because you have clearly exposed, like, the people that actually can get behind and defend what the police are doing to Black people over and over and over again. That tells me something about your moral fiber, like your compass, your humanity as a person is not connecting. And therefore you have no business having any type of weapon on you that can kill a person. To me, that just doesn't, and I am so, like you said, I really pray that he is not paralyzed. I pray that he's able to do physical therapy. He's able to regain his strength, but he should not. There's no amount of money that can help those children with the PTSD that they will sustain after something like that, nor even himself, So I'm just, and the other thing, this is what I'll say lastly about it, is that it really infuriates me when you read that the police officers are on administrative leave. That really infuriates me because when you see these protests going on, they have no problem detaining and arresting protesters on the spot. So therefore, if you can detain and arrest protesters on the spot without due process, you can do the same for somebody that you watch on video shoot someone 7 times unjustly. You can do it. I don't want to hear that they have to have their day in the sun. No, they don't, because you arrest peaceful protesters every single day. So right. I'm over the administrative leave. I'm over you get to go home to your wife and kids while my kids are sitting up here crying because they just watched their father get shot in the street. I'm over that. I'm over it. And I just can't. I can't even. You see, when I stop talking about it, I get worse.
You want a level of justice that I think everybody in America is wanting, but we're unlikely to receive. What adds injury to insult in this case is that we just went through 3 months of hardcore protests, targeted protests, begging for America to recognize the continuous assault on the lives of Black men and women in this country and try to find some way to protect our lives. At the exact same time, the entire movement is under attack by the president and by a number of Republican leaders, and it's even more so under attack now. Candy, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm where Laurel is. I mean, I'm over feeling like I need to explain why Black lives should matter to you, and the lives that should matter are all of them, not just the ones who have a degree in education, a good corporate job. I mean, every single life has value. You know what I mean? Every single Black, brown life has value. I don't care what it is that you do. And they try to push this criminal agenda so hard to justify why the person was shot by the police officer and say, oh, he had a knife, he had a gun, or he was a drug dealer or something like that. I don't care what they did. They're being murdered while being detained by you should never even happen. They should have an opportunity to at least get to the police station, to at least get a ticket wrote out. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, like Philando Castile. That was just a simple traffic stop. You know what I mean? And I mean, that should not have ever ended like that. Breonna Taylor, she was in her bed sleep. They went to the wrong house. And I just saw a news article that popped up where it said Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend was arrested for, trafficking and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what does that even have to do with anything? Why are you even
There is a movement afoot to undermine and devalue the Black Lives Matter movement, everything that everyone has fought for. And they started with the conservative Republican media to portray the movement as a terrorist group and a terrorist organization. And you do that while at the exact same time, you actually do have terrorists. Like this young man, Kyle Rittenhouse, walking around like this kid.
That's
Crazy.
a child. How much hatred do you have to have in your heart to be a kid to come outside with that kind of a weapon with the intention of killing protesters?
That's right. Candy, this is a child. This young man is 17 years old. And I listened to speech after speech after speech this week from the Republican National Convention talking about the radical left. I have heard every commentator in various clips of Fox News talk about the radical left. Well, let me tell you something. I haven't seen any child from the radical left pick up any weapon or arm to harm anybody. What I've seen people from this so-called radical left do, I've seen them hold up signs saying that Black Lives Matter. I've seen them hold up signs begging for peaceful protests and demonstrations in honor of the lives lost, demanding that police officers who kill innocent Black people are brought to justice. That's what we hold up on the radical left. But when you are a part of the radical right, you think you can pick up guns, get in your car, drive to a city you don't even live in, and start shooting and murdering innocent protesters. You shot this kid shot two people.
And the other thing,
a young white man rushes to stop him and he shoots him in the chest as well. And adding further insult to the injury that is adding insult to the previous injury, you have people on Fox News like Tucker Carlson defending him, saying that he felt that he had to do this to protect his community. He doesn't live in this community. He's not a part of this community. It was all called for protect white people. And
that's so crazy because Black Lives Matter does not mean we are here to assault white lives. Black Lives Matter simply means Black Lives Matter. You don't have to protect your community against anything. Nobody is trying to harm you. People are just trying to protest to have the same rights and safety when dealing with law enforcement as other members of the community. They're not there to assault the people of other ethnicities and races. We're just simply bringing awareness to the issues that we are experiencing. So, I mean, it's so many people who do think like that. Like, oh God, protesters are coming over here to my neighborhood. I must protect my community because the neighborhood Black people are so violent, and we come over there to trash.
But it's the rhetoric. It's the rhetoric that has been, this in the very beginning. And there was a recent poll that I saw on MSNBC. In the very beginning of the entire movement, there was overwhelming support for Black Lives Matter in the protests. It was overwhelming. That support has dropped by more than 10 points. The American people are no longer in support of the movement, but a lot of that has to do with how the movement has been portrayed as a terrorist organization. It has to do with the fear that has been instilled in the population by Fox News, President Trump, and all of his supporters. They are purposely wanting to undermine the value of peaceful protest and demonstration, totally wanting to undermine the right that Black people and those who support our struggle have to have free speech. President Trump advocates for free speech when it's against cancel culture.
Correct.
When he's mad that racists are being called out for being racist, then it's cancel culture. You don't do it. But you want to stifle and stop Black Lives Matter protesters who are fighting for the simple right to live and exist in this country. That's the world we live in, and it's unfortunate.
Thing that I wanted to add, when you talk about the media, I saw an article today from Vice TV, which was incredibly infuriating, because for you to have your own notable online publication and also have a main network like Vice TV, they published a statement about Kyle saying he's an aspiring police officer. They didn't say They didn't say murderer. They didn't say shooter. They said he's an aspiring police officer who took action. Okay, so my issue with that,
What makes them inspiring?
Correct. Like my whole thing is the messaging of the media. When it's white people that are committing these type of violent crimes with assault rifles, they always have a mental illness. They always have an aspiring background. They always have some type of, it's always a scapegoat message that comes out. But when it's black people, it's, I'm going to go find a picture of, you know, them smoking weed. I'm gonna go down to their Facebook and see what's going on. And I'm so tired of that, like the criminalization of a black victim. And then you have someone, for example, the age-old example of Dylan Roof. You took this child to.
He went into a church and he went into a church and he massacred people in prayer.
In prayer at a place of worship. And you not only did you detain him peacefully and he lived to tell the story, you took him to Burger King so he could eat. And to me, that age-old example will never get old to me because it speaks to the fact that many black men and women cannot even make it back home to their families to tell the story. You guys can detain, when it comes to white people, you can peacefully detain them and they'll be the most criminal of criminals and you can detain them peacefully with no problem. But when it comes down to us, and that's the thing that really upsets me because it's like, this is someone who had a rifle. We get killed. We have nothing in our hands, nothing in our arms, reaching for our wallets, hands up. It doesn't matter to me. It does not matter at this point what kind of tactics you try to teach your children. The other thing
we will be begging for our lives, telling you can't breathe, begging you to take your knee off our necks, and we're still going to lose our life because our life doesn't matter to you. And what matters to you, to these police officers that have taken the lives of these black men and women, it's their control. It's the fact that they were not respected by this black person. How dare this, you know, the word they think, have any right to not do what I say.
Right. The other thing though is this, think about this also. He's 17 years old. So the concept still stands of like children learn hate. Teens, these kids learn hate. You can. It's not something that you're born with. That's something that you have to exactly from your home. Where did he get?
Didn't buy a gun. We didn't buy that gun.
Where did he get this rifle from? Where did he get
his mama and daddy?
Correct.
And the mama gave him a ride to the protest.
There we go. And you arrive.
So you didn't see your son get in the car with that big ass stick.
Correct.
Man.
And that's
that big hole assault weapon, that big hole assault rifle. You're right. They drove him to Kenosha. This is the radical right. This young man is radicalized. And L'Oreal, when you talk about reading that article from Vice Magazine, you need to call out Vice Magazine. You need to take that headline and we need to post that all over social media. And we need to call for an absolute boycott of Vice Magazine. When Newsweek magazine posted or published they were the ones who posted that editorial about Kamala Harris not being an American, that, you know, we should have a right to question her citizenship. They did that. They started that trying to get clickbait and trying to get like some people to look at an article. I demand that we boycott. There's no reason to ever again read an article from Newsweek. There's no reason to ever see one thing that they publish because it's trash. And the same thing goes for every single media outlet that calls this young man an aspiring police officer.
Right.
That would give this young man any type of consideration for being anything else than a radical right murderer, because that is what he is. Absolutely right, Christian. White supremacy at its finest. These people have been taking us down one by one like it's duck hunt.
Right.
Like it's a game. Like it is a game, and there is nothing we can do about it because we don't have any say in the law, and we don't have say in the law because we're not voting. And
I'd like to say this though. I'd like to say this one comment on to that point. I feel like for anybody who has continued the narrative of, you know, when the protests turned to looting, for example, I'm not in favor of looting. I would never loot because those are not my morals. But you have to understand that when you continue to spit on Black people, where we protest peacefully, we vote, we put signs up, we do all these things, and people get to a point where they're fed up. When you watch this man, it seems like in these last few months, especially, you're watching Black people get killed virally over and over and over again. That type of traumatic experience, the other thing, it goes back to what Tamika Mallory said of United freedom. She's always on the front lines fighting. But she's like, we learned looting from you. We learned violence from you. America was built on violence. America was built, that is in the infrastructure of this country. It's built on slavery. It's built on violence. It's built on the very things that you continue to accuse Black people of, when essentially all we're saying is, hey, we want to reap the benefits of this so-called land of the free, home of the brave as well.
We want to live.
We just
majority of the people was Antifa though. Those Antifa kids traveling from out of town.
Correct.
They was coming to these cities where these protests were happening,
and they were making it seem like Black people were the ones that were starting all this ruckus, when essentially, no, you have an agenda.
But here's the thing.
Right.
You're right, Candy. Antifa was coming, but guess what? There were also white supremacists coming, wanting to add in and aggravate as well. So it really, I don't believe that the majority of the people that took this violently were members of Antifa. And that's not what Antifa typically does. Antifa came to protect people. That's what I believe. That's their narrative. And I actually believe it because they're allies to the movement. Yeah. There were white supremacists scattered around in these places, causing turmoil and chaos because it benefits them and it benefits their narrative of Black people as violent.
Yeah, 100%.
And then they shifted from being the agitators to actually being the militia coming to protect their white communities. That is a big part of it. And Laurel, when you said that you don't support looting, you're right. Protest should not turn to looting, but policing should not turn to murder.
No, I'm saying I would not listen. If you want to loot, that's your business. What I'm solely saying is that me personally, you won't find me, Laurel Oliveira, mother of one, wife of one, in the street looting. But if you get so fed up that that's what you feel you need to do, I'm not in the business of telling Black people.
My question is, what does the loot improve?
This is my only thing to point to the looting aspect. I feel like Black people are at a point where they are so fed up that where do I put this rage? I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is that you cannot expect a population of people to be marginalized and pushed to the limit so much that it's like, okay, now I have to respect everything that you have. I have to respect. I don't believe in burning down our own communities because I feel like if Mr. Brown up the street has a 20-year-old pharmacy that has served the Black community, you don't go burn down Mr. Brown's shop. You know what I'm saying? And that's my I truly believe that. I feel like if Black people are building within their own community to build something up, you don't go tear it down. But when people was over there Target and stuff like that, I'm like, I have never seen Target. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen Target stand up for Black people. I've never, and in working in the influencer space, I have been challenging brands day in and day out, like, don't approach me with a campaign if I have seen nothing in your, and Kirk knows because I tell him this all the time. I'll be quick to turn down some money if I have seen nothing that reflects the Black consumer or where you put your money where your mouth is when it comes to Black people and representation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Black people, this country has capitalized off of Black culture, off of Black dollars, consumership. Black people consume so much in this country. We want rags to riches. We want to spend
the whole culture.
We
control the whole culture. We literally control the culture of food.
So for me,
so CJ, let me also give you another piece of why the looting happens, right?
Well, I want you to tell me that, but to go back to what L'Oreal said was that when we had looting here in Atlanta, it was destroying a lot of Black businesses as well.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, I don't understand that. Like, if you're trying to make
because it wasn't people that were
angry and
what Black businesses got harmed?
You said what?
What Black businesses were harmed?
All those businesses downtown?
That
were Black owned? No.
Dave's Cheesesteaks got vandalized really, really bad. He is Black owned. He's a known guy from Philly that lives here in Atlanta. And he serves, amazing cheesesteaks. Mm-hmm. And his business got vandalized. There was quite a few others in downtown Atlanta that got vandalized.
It was a lot.
I know it was a lot of businesses. I have not heard of it being Black owned.
That I saw, they were a Spelman. They're Spelman graduates. They have a consignment store, and
did L'Oreal freeze?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, I think so.
L'Oreal, you froze. So I know you. I think it'll hopefully pop back soon.
But yeah, Zachary, there was a lot of
is it back?
that were destroyed.
It's back. But let me say this: when you have a company like Target, this is like protesting isn't effective in the 21st century when people just organize in one large area and they march. They'll let you march until your legs fall off. But your protest has to have a purpose, and it has to have an end goal, and it has to be targeted towards an impact. These protests, and I'm going to tell you, and Zachary Kirk will not loot. Zachary Kirk will not loot because, like you said, L'Oreal, it doesn't support it's not what I believe in. It's not my form of protest. Marching is also not my primary form of protest either. That is not how I'm contributing to the movement. I am contributing to the movement by having these type of conversations. I didn't do this prior to the movement starting. I'm contributing to the movement through social media and the types of things I'm writing and the posts that I'm making. That is my effort to support the movement. Mm-hmm. But when you impact the economic engine and you push hard on that economic engine, you force them to pay attention and listen, if nothing else. These protests and march and the looting made people listen because they did not want the property damage. They didn't want the embarrassment. They did not want the turmoil that came with the looting. And if those people had not have torn down and burned down Wendy's, torn and burned down Targets, we would not have had some of the progress.
But this is where my issue comes into play.
And so I can't condemn them for that because I don't. And it's not just to me about the anger boiled over. It's about they had to attack the economic engine of these cities in order to bring about some level of change. And when we stop doing that, when we stop the boycotting, when we stop the protesting, when we stop the looting, we go right back to where we are. You now have, again, 3 months ago, mass calls and protests in support of Black Lives Matter. And then you have just this week, a man shot in the back 7 times.
So who you think burned down at Wendy's?
Can I
I don't know. It was not done by it was not. I don't believe the Wendy's was burned by Black Lives Matter protesters. But what I'm saying is the fact that happened also helped push the movement forward. That's
can I say something, please?
Yeah, I'm going to mute myself if I don't talk.
Okay, well, okay, Zach, because you like to take over. So this is my thing with the leaders. You have had this conversation before. Now, I get it. By sitting here and demolishing, the economic of these brands or these businesses for people to listen, and I'm not trying to sound racist, so I don't want no one to take that way, but when you think of places like Target and Walmart like that, the percentage of African Americans that work these jobs are higher than Caucasian people. So why would you want to sit there and put these businesses in jeopardy, knowing that these people, Caucasian people, why would you want to sit there and put these businesses in jeopardy?
That term isn't appropriate in the 21st century. It's just not the appropriate term. It's actually just not the right term. It's not right. It's
okay,
not
whatever, white, Caucasian, whatever. My thing is why would you want to sit here and do harm to a business knowing that the percentage of African Americans that work at these places need their jobs? So why would you sit there and not put them in some kind of financial turmoil, knowing that you guys, destroy these businesses? To me, that doesn't make sense. That Wendy's on University, it was all staffed by Black people.
And you know what?
They have no job. Well, I'm sure that something might have happened, but now they're potentially out of a job.
They're getting unemployment, and they're nice. And
First of all, unemployment is
but that's what they're getting it. A lot of them
they receive unemployment, and I'm not saying that makes up for it, but that's a part of the problem. The fact that I'm glad that we're worried about the wage earners, but they should be making way more than the minimum wage they're working in the first place.
What I'm saying, if you're saying
burn down that Wendy's, you're hurting those workers making those pennies. That's a small price compared to the multi-millions of dollars that franchise owner is getting, who's not Black, who isn't in the Black community.
No, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is you're still putting them at a disadvantage at that point in moment when they don't have nowhere to work at. Now, unemployment is not coming in like next day. It's taking months. I just had a friend personally that just now got the unemployment 3 months later.
And you know what? And that's because we do know.
Right. We're in the midst of a pandemic, as if that makes sense.
You do know also, and that's what I said in the very beginning, that too is a result of voting. When you have Republican leaders who don't want to give you the unemployment in the first place, they're going to hold it up. Because they were waiting for the pandemic to stop, and they were holding on to that money because they didn't want to give it to you in the first place.
But the pandemic is not stopping no time soon.
And the unemployment has stopped because they rolled it back and you didn't get a second stimulus while they put that money in the treasury and reallocated it towards their deficits. That's how this works. And again, here's another prime example. I'm gonna mute myself again, Lorraine, you can have it.
Please do.
Another prime example of that is that we're sitting here begging for the killers of Breonna Taylor to be arrested when the Attorney General of Kentucky is Daniel Cameron, and he isn't going to arrest anyone because he is a puppet of the Republican Party, a black man who is and so you can call for killers to be arrested all day. He's not going to make any actions because he has the power and the authority to do or not do, and he's choosing to not do. So we can protest, we can social media outcry, we can do all of that, but none of it makes any difference if we don't get people in office who are going to care about our interests, period. And just today, I unfriended 3 people who are sitting here talking about, oh, well, here we go again. We got to pick. One person was talking about picking between 2 evils, Trump or Biden. That time for that is over. The time for that conversation is
I can just jump in real quick. I want to say a point. I definitely agree with what CJ is saying, and as far as the stance of families being impacted by the looting or by the rioting, because if I work at Wendy's and you burn my job down and I got to wait 3 months for employment, who's going to feed my kids? Who's going to feed withstay my household? And I understand that. And I think that is a very valid point to make, because like you said, like, it's the same thing when people were like, why are people working in the pandemic? Well, not everybody can sit home and be at home because some people are essential workers and they got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? And I was one of them at one point. So for me, I totally understand it. And like I said, I personally, my moral fiber does not agree with looting or burning down any type of building. I personally would not be out there doing that. That's not my.
They were trying to stop that girl who was burning down that building.
Correct. And they were like, why are you doing that? But on the flip side of that, I do feel what Kirk is saying in regards to everyone has a part to play in the movement. I think the overall crux of it is making sure that we get out and vote and everyone in our community is registered to vote. And then the other sub parts of it is like for me, for example, I have a daughter. So my daughter couldn't be involved in the movement and things like that, but my daughter is 6 years old. I'm not going to be in the streets of Atlanta with my daughter on my hip running up and down the street. But every time I get an opportunity to challenge the system or make a difference, whether it's on my job or on social media, whatever, I'm going to do it every single time. And if that costs an unfollow or whatever, then see you later. But me personally, I feel like our voices are so strong that everybody has a lane that the overall lane is voting, but then everyone has a lane where they can carry out a piece of the movement. For me,
we all have work to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but I feel like what people have to understand too is that I think people are so afraid of ruffling feathers that it's like, I just don't want to ruffle no feathers. And I think the time for that is over. Like if you really stand for something and you have you're just conscious that any one of these people could be you as a Black person. They don't care. They don't care if you light skin, brown, Black, whatever. It could be your mom. It could be when I look at Breonna Taylor, I think about my sisters. I think about my mother. When I think about Sandra Bland, I'm still so hurt about Sandra Bland. I remember where I was to this day sitting. I almost threw up when I saw that because it made me realize that you don't have to be a Black man. You can very much be a Black woman. You could be going about your day, going to campus or whatever, going to work, and that can be you. And so everyone has to look at these scenarios and see themselves or see the people that they love. And then you'll kind of wake up and be like, man, like this could be it. It's no one's problem until it's them or their family.
And it's no one's problem until it is someone I know and care about. And that's sad. And that's the same thing with COVID. I want to give reference and recognize Anthony Huber. He was the young man who actually, once Kyle Rittenberg shot the first victim, he ran to try to stop him. Yeah. And he tried to, because the police let Kyle Rittenhouse walk by.
With that big old rifle.
And then Kyle shot him in the chest. And they also announced the name of the very first victim, who was also a white man. His name is Joseph Rosenbaum. Those are the victims of Kyle Rittenhouse. And I am prayerful and I am hopeful that real justice is served in this case. Although you already see the media crafting the narrative of he was an aspiring police officer, right. He cared about Blue Lives Matter, and he attended Trump rallies. So they're already trying to set up a narrative for this young man's protection.
He's not going to be protected. He going down. Believe that.
We hope so. One thing else, Laurel talked about the value of using your platform to do the work and move our society forward. And that's exactly what we saw on yesterday when members of the NBA refused to play. And so I want to know what you guys think about the NBA's, some people call it a boycott. Other people are calling it Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called it a strike. I want to know, what are your thoughts about the NBA and what other sports organizations should do?
So with this situation, there was also a tennis player, I don't know her name, but she also said she's going to back out from her game as well to do her part. I think because they have such a major platform, and when you think of the NBA and the NFL and the MLB, the fact that they're doing this, I hope that this gives more major companies and corporations to follow suit. I think it's amazing that they're doing this, and I don't think it's nothing wrong with what they're doing, honestly.
I agree.
Need more people of power and positions to do things like this. Get celebrities, get actors, get actors, like do all of it.
I agree with that. I one thing that really crossed my mind today as I was reading the article was the fact that, my heart is really with Colin Kaepernick and the fact that when you look back 4 years ago, this man was really like advocating and taking a knee and saying, hey, I'm going to use my platform and my ability and my stage as a football player to stand up for this. And they ridiculed that man. They nailed him to the cross. They refused to acknowledge. They blackballed him. We all saw it. And so for me, my mind immediately went to that because I'm like, look at the NBA. Look at how all of this uproar has caused an organization as big and as lucrative as the NBA to take such a powerful stand. And then you have the NFL who's over here backpedaling the commissioner and comes with this backhanded statement like, I'm going to now allow players to stand up for what they believe in. And it's like, no, you're a dollar in daylight too short because you owe that man an apology. Not only do they owe Colin Kaepernick an apology, they owe that man compensation. They owe that man, you owe him the due and just respect. If you now want to be on the right side of history and take a stance as an organization, you need to, first of all, reconcile that and then come back to the table and say, how can you do the same for your players? Because you got Russell Wilson, who basically came out and said, I will not be playing this season because number one, coronavirus, and I have a pregnant wife. And number two, hello, black men are dying in the streets. I'm not worried about a football. You know what I'm saying? So I really commend the NBA because I know that they push so much to try to reboot the season. But I'm glad to see it came to an abrupt halt. As soon as the foolishness started, it was like, look, I'm a black man first. I'm proud to see LeBron James avidly standing up on Twitter. He doesn't silence himself. He's not like, I'm gonna just sit over here. But he's always been active in his community with the school that he built in his hometown and things like that. So, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to say the least.
The National Hockey League did it too.
Oh, wow.
They just did it today.
So they're not playing?
Mm-hmm. And wow. I think the Major League Baseball, I think they did it as well today.
Nice. Yeah, so, I think when it comes down to money, when you see organizations that have money and there's money behind it and they say, okay, we're halting this, that speaks volumes to whoever it needs to speak to. It's like, look, the money, the dollars, all this can stop right now.
And we have to hold everybody again. I think it's important that we celebrate LeBron James and we celebrate the NBA because the media is trashing them right now. Jared Kushner came out with this horrible statement. They're piling it on and attacking them, and they're trying to discourage other people to do it. But the money that these people make and bring into these organizations is astronomical, and they have a responsibility and a role to play. And we have to do the same thing. I've been very vocal about being a canceler and saying that I will cancel without, again, Chick-fil-A. You don't get a second chance with me. You don't get a chance to tell me that my life doesn't matter to you because of my race or my sexual orientation or my gender or whatever it is. You don't get that. You don't get a second chance to do that to me and then say I'm sorry and expect to get my hard-earned money. So when you're
that ass macaroni and cheese.
you said,
Right, give me a good lemonade and Chick-fil-A
Man,
sandwich.
I'm trying to make it there today. I forgot about that. You just reminded me.
no, I'm never gonna
you
have.
know,
I'm never gonna have
keep
Chick-fil-A. I'm
going.
never gonna
I
have
was ready
Starbucks.
today.
I'm never gonna wear
Chick-fil-A?
H&M.
I love Chick-fil-A.
I don't like Chick-fil-A, but that
That's
macaroni
okay.
and cheese, that macaroni and cheese,
that
you grandma they they're making that.
That peach
And that's
milk
okay. You know, CJ and I are very different people. CJ believes
we're
that
all different people.
we're all different people, but CJ and I are polar opposites, and that's the benefit I think of having him, you know, and being able to engage with him. Because no, we're polar opposites. CJ believes in black on black crime, and I know that that's a racial construct and a myth. So
I don't
we're
think that about CJ. I don't think I've known CJ for 2 seconds, and I don't think he believes in black on black crime. I think that's
L'Oreal, I do
I think
believe
that the moniker
I
black
think
on black
there's
crime.
a thing called black on black crime. I
oh,
mean,
you like black. Oh wait, okay. The way it was phrased, okay.
no, I don't believe in it, but I don't. First of all, I think it's terrible. But I use the term called black on black crime.
When you sit here and think that crime has a color, you're a racist, and that's
so when a black man kills a black man. What is it called? But that's not called black on
murder.
black crime.
It's called murder.
Okay.
I think the moniker, I understand what you're saying, Kirk and CJ. I understand what you're saying too. I think the black on black moniker is what makes it a
Zach
thing.
doesn't like it because the stigmatism that's attached to the black on black crime.
I don't like it because it doesn't exist.
Just like he didn't believe in there's such thing as a black neighborhood and a white neighborhood.
It's not. There's no such thing. Neighborhoods don't have color either. But if black on black crime did exist,
L'Oreal,
exist,
what's the population of African Americans in Bankhead?
Black people. The term is black. I'm black.
Oh, okay.
I'm black. You know
black.
I am black. I'm black and proud. But what's the population of black people in Bankhead? I'm just curious to know.
It's a black
They
neighborhood.
gentrifying it, so it's flipping a little bit.
That's what Bankhead is. Not even a neighborhood. It doesn't exist.
It's an area, and majority of black people.
Changed to Donnelly Hollowell.
Well, let me just say my 2 cents. I feel like when it comes down to it, black people killing black people is real. I don't know if you want to call it black on black crime. You want to go, but I feel also that it is crime. All of it is under the umbrella of crime. But I also feel like a lot of times the scapegoat is the black on black crime. That's how I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, yeah, Black Lives Matter. Where are y'all when this is going on? And it's but wait, let me explain. I feel like the movement of Black Lives Matter was not to say that black is superior and that, you know, it only matters when a cop is killing it. It was simply saying that you have a group of people, police officers, who are in power, who are entrusted with these weapons and given the license to kill. And they are now abusing this power to kill unarmed black people. And thus, Black Lives Matter was birthed. But I do feel like, to your point, CJ, when it comes down to what the shooting that happened in Chicago, where you have kids who are being killed and kids who are in predominantly black environments, because let's keep it real, that's where it took place. I do feel like that deserves just as much attention as well, but you cannot mix the two. You cannot mix the two. You cannot say now because this is happening, like, where's Black Lives Matter? That's not why it was established. It was established.
Zach, right. Don't say that. And I agree with you 100%, L'Oreal. But my thing is this: like, if you're gonna sit here and protest, and you're gonna be for the people and talk about Black Lives Matters, know what's going on in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree.
Don't always bring it up when a white cop is killing the black man when you have the brothers killing the brothers right around the corner. Don't do that. Like, no, don't do that. And then just a month ago, I think it was off a university when a young girl got murdered by a black person.
Girl.
Right. But no one didn't say nothing about that, though. It was like, okay, she passed away, unfortunately. They didn't make a big uproar about it or nothing.
I didn't see nothing about the 14 people that got shot on Edgewood.
That's what I was going to say.
You know,
I saw nothing. That was like a real life.
Even down to the incident that happened in D.C. a few weeks ago at their annual cookout, where several people were shot that were black, and it was in a black neighborhood, and it was at a black cookout.
But the only thing,
Give me one moment. Let me just have this one moment.
No, because you already know how you guys go. Because I'm new to the thing. I didn't know y'all had this X and O going on.
They don't like each other. Yes, I'm just playing.
It's a lot of shit. No, I'm just kidding. The only point that I have for that is I feel like, okay, I'm going to use this example and hopefully I can deliver it properly. When you look at somebody like Nipsey Hussle, right? I loved and admired.
By a Black person.
But he was killed by a Black person. Yes, he was. And I love and admire him because I feel like here you have someone who is from the streets, who he was a gang member. Let's call it what it was. He was a Crip. And he goes into his community and he's recognizing what is going on in his community. And he's trying to actively make it better and acknowledging like, hey, we got people, we do have people killing people. We do have wrong things going on in our own community. And we do need economic stability as well. I feel like that is very valid. And that is a very valid point to make. But the only issue that I have personally is that when it comes down to white America and white corporate, when you look at the man that killed Nipsey Hussle, he's in custody. He's in custody. Yes, it was Yes, it was a Black man shooting a Black man, but he is in custody. They went. No, wait, CJ. Let me just arrive.
You had it right. It was Black on Black crime. You had it right.
But listen to what I'm saying though. When it is us, they went on a search for this man and they found him and they took him into custody. But when it comes down to a state enforced law, something like law enforcement that has the mantra to protect and serve, you have to be held accountable to the same type of justice system that you have tried to hold Black people accountable for many, many years. Because I guarantee you, every day when we commit crimes, the whole reason why we're being apprehended in this manner is because we're being accused of committing crimes. So therefore, when you commit a crime, no matter if you have a badge or not, then you must too pay the price as well. And I think that is the whole crux of Black Lives Matter, that people try to, place that on other scenarios. And it's like, no, we have, if you're going to be an authoritative figure over me and policing me, then you have a standard to be held accountable to, meaning you cannot shoot someone 7 times in the back and think, oh, I'm just going to go on administrative leave and go home to my wife and kids while their kids are crying and there's no accountability whatsoever. And I think, but to your point, I do feel like Black people need to be as outraged in our own communities when we see things.
We are. This is the thing. This is what you guys aren't getting. Listen to this. You tell me if you know these names. Because CJ, you quoted several incidents and news stories of Black people doing Black crime because the white media told you and taught you that. Because it's very easy.
I used to live over in them areas. I know
that. They told me.
Very easy to see all of these news stories that focus in on Black people doing wrong. But tell me, do you know Jim Capello and his wife Jamie Wiest, where Jamie stole all of these drugs to kill him? Do you know about that? You probably don't.
When did that happen?
It doesn't make the news. It's not something you have to dig, you have to search. White people are killing white people at a higher rate than Black people kill Black people. Yet and still, we don't call that white on white crime. We're not highlighting that as white crime. That's crime. And they get away with it's crime. And they don't have the stereotypes. And that kind of mentality allows the media to give a kid like Kyle Rittenhouse due consideration and respect, while someone like Jacob Blake is shot in the back 7 times and it's his fault. The whole entire mentality of Black on Black crime is what leads to these bigger problems. And you guys really need to think about what I'm saying so you can see the bigger picture. Because until we wake up and realize that the media and the racist systems that exist make us think this way, we're never going to be able to stop it. And we're going to pass this down to our children. And they're going to pass it to their children. Black on Black crime does not exist. It is a figmentation of a racist, constructed society.
I get what you're saying. You're talking about the outcome.
Media that is upheld by the government. They use this to oppress us and keep us trapped.
I agree. Listen, I agree with what you're saying. I completely agree with.
They say so.
I agree. I'm not disputing any of that. My only point is the fact that I don't doubt, first of all, that white people are being killed by white people, because obviously every time
at a higher rate and more of them.
I mean, I agree with that, and the data cannot be disputed. My only point is that I am tired of people specifically putting the Black Lives Matter and associating that with other things. I feel like the whole messaging of it is being distorted to fit what other people want it to fit. It's not Black supremacy. It's not we're trying to harm other races. It's not any of that. It's about the fact that we're simply saying what it says. Our life matters. And truly, the fact that you even have to create an organization to even say that and profess that is baffling, because you don't have to say white lives matter. That has been told to us our whole lives. So that's my only point. Listen, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm on the side of like, you have to be on a level of thinking where you're like, let me get my people together and let us figure out how we can do better, how we can change the narrative, and how we can be up on the right side. When the history books are written, let us be on this side of like, what did we do? I'm not in the business of like, I'm going to sit here and say who's getting killed and who's getting killed. You know, everybody getting killed. But what I'm saying about Black people is that we have always been entrepreneurs. We have always been innovators. We had Tulsa. They burned Tulsa down. We had businesses. This is not Black people crying out for a handout because we're not intellectually capable of getting our own. We have always been intellectually capable, and it has always been taken from us. And now our lives are being taken from us once again, you know? And so it's a cycle of history repeating itself. And I'm just at the point where I'm just like, how many more ways can we explain to you that we are fed up? We're done with this. You know, that's where I'm personally at. I'm like, I can't sit and have these type of roundtable discussions where it's like, no one is saying, okay, look, this is how this is going to go, you know? And I think when you look at leaders in the past, even like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they both arrived at a point where it's like, look, this is not it. This is not working. That's why you had the bus boycotts. That's why you had the sit-ins. That's why you had those type of things, because it was like, I'm not going to sit here and talk with you. No, I have to take action in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's money, this is a capitalist society. So the dollars, I mean, that's my whole thing. I feel like when you talk about the police, when people say, oh, defund the police, defunding the police.
She went out again.
Yep, she went out.
Well, you went out, and I think, you know, and we're going to talk about what we can do for change. Alon Ray, actually tonight in the post RNC discussion, we are going to kind of hit our last points quickly because of the RNC. But when you talk about the fake notion of Black on Black crime, I swear to God, you could have thought about this guy right here. Maybe not. Am I coming through? Am I frozen?
No, we hear you.
No.
Am I frozen?
L'Oreal.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, she actually just dropped.
We had a number of people. Oh, good. I think she's coming back. She had to log out and log back. We had a number of people this week speak at the Republican National Convention, and a number of Black people who truly, in my opinion, epitomized a variety of attacks on the Black community. Did you guys hear any of these speakers
attacking and saying stuff like racism doesn't exist? Though I don't think that that's the same, in the same vein, at least to me. Those people were like, racism does not exist. I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, people talking about my name is Nikki and my name is really.
I can't hear you guys. What happened?
Nimranaha Onakio or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not even the same vein at all. But I get where you're going. You know, them people like Candace Owens and people like that.
But the damage they do to Black people in the Black community is what I'm saying. That's a level of crime that's even greater. When you have white supremacists, Candy, like Donald Trump, roll out someone like Candace Owens, or you roll out Herschel Walker, or you roll out Jack Brewer, and they talk about the Black community in a way that perpetuates the negative racist stereotypes that exist within the minds of weak Black people and racist white people, you're only making the problem so much worse. L'Oreal, we hear. L'Oreal, I heard her.
I just don't like, putting down Black people or nothing like that. Especially, I look at all my Black people as my brothers and sisters. So I feel like it's my responsibility to be as uplifting as I possibly can, especially in times like this. I feel like we owe it to one another. So
even for like a Candace Owens,
huh?
So even for like Candace Owens or Herschel Walker.
I don't want to say nothing negative about them people, because I feel like words have power. They have a right to feel the way that they feel. I don't agree with them, but I'm not about to bash them because I don't want to speak nothing negative over their life. They can speak what they want to speak. You know what I'm saying? And I understand how they think and how they may feel. You know what I'm saying? But I don't agree with it, but that does not mean I have to put them down, because that would be a reflection of me.
That's a really good viewpoint. CJ, what do you think?
You on mute?
I am. As far as the Black people speaking at the DN, I'm the RNC. Is that what you was referring to? Right.
And I know you said you went to some friends' houses. I know you have a few Republican friends.
I actually have one, and it wasn't his house, and they're just watching the RNC, and the guy from Kentucky, I know you mentioned Cameron something.
Yep, Daniel Cameron.
Daniel Cameron. He just sounded idiotic. I mean, he might as well just go and bleach his skin white.
And that really goes, I think, for a lot of the people that spoke. We are at an hour, guys, and the night is getting ready to launch into the DNC, into the RN, to the Trump National Convention. If you are out there, don't watch it. You can come back at 11:15 for highlights and reviews. But at the same time, if you really want to hear from the horse's mouth, then go and let's watch these horses in the stable. Tonight, Donald Trump is going to speak. We have some data. We know the first night of the Republican National Convention was lowly rated. Many Americans chose not to watch. The second night,
less than Kamala Harris, than who watched Kamala Harris.
That's right. So on the second night, the ratings went up, and people did tune in to hear First Lady Melania Trump. But last night, the Mike Pence speech was the lowest rated night thus far. And it was 6 million fewer viewers than what Senator Kamala Harris had. So I hope that tonight President Trump doesn't get more viewers than Joe Biden. We shall see. But Candy, are you going to watch?
I don't know. I might turn it on since we're talking about it, and I'm sitting right here at the TV. That's if I don't get caught up with Beyonce.
I have a thread going on my Facebook. We type all throughout this hour, so just check it out. CJ, you're not going to watch?
Absolutely not.
And I understand that. I do want your honest opinion from this panel today. I have a photo shoot tomorrow. I was growing out my dreads, as you guys know. And the photo shoot, they wanted me to have my hair out. So I go to my barber, and I had my barber take it out. And I said, I just want you to cut the dead ends. And that's not what happened. As you can see, that's not what happened. I lost 3 years of hair growth today. Like 3 years of this process. My hair is as short as it was at the end of the first year of me growing it out. So I lost 3 years of growth. I just want to know your opinion of it.
Did you pay him for your service?
No, I didn't pay. He didn't charge me. But I was really devastated at this, and I just really wanted to kind of get your opinion on it. Does it look as bad as I think it looks? Don't lie.
He could have faded you a little bit on the sides, gave you a taper.
Yeah,
I agree with Candy.
He could have gave you a taper and left this alone. He tapered this.
Yeah, why would I would have
tripping?
Yeah, I don't. Yep.
Where's your normal barber?
This was my normal barber. This is the barber I've gone to for 5 years, for 3 years.
Going to him
then what made you want to do that?
You need to cut him. You need to let him go.
I don't know, Candy. I don't know. That's what I can't figure out because I said specifically multiple times what I wanted. And I said, don't cut it off because I want to probably get it back dreaded.
Well, Zachary Kirk, you know how you are. If you do me wrong once, you're done. He did you wrong and he gave you 3 years of nothing.
It's unfortunate. I'm very disappointed. So it does. So Candy, you're saying it looks bad. You think honestly, you think
I don't think it looks bad, but at the same time, if you're trying to do a photo shoot, I understand you want it to be pristine at the photo shoot. I would want it to be tapered on the side some more, and he tapered the front for some reason. I don't know what
he looks terrible.
Oh no, I know what that's from. That's from when you had the dreads and they was doing the front.
Yeah, I think so.
Zach, you know I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, but I am disappointed. I'm extremely. I'm
a perfectionist with my hair too. I be looking at my hair all the time, like it is.
I don't got no hair, so I can't. But I am a perfectionist when it comes to my beard, so I understand. But I don't have no hair, so.
Yeah, I don't play with my hair, man. I be in tears.
Yeah.
I can't even talk.
My beard, if you don't take my beard, I don't play when it comes to my beard. And when I had hair, I didn't play with this. So yeah, I totally understand.
I don't play.
So you know, I know it'll be back in time. I know it'll grow back.
It will grow back.
It'll be back by January.
Quite a bit though, and it grew fast.
You need to stop going to him. You need to call him as your barber.
I know it'll be back by January. I know it'll be back by January, but it's still very. And again, I wouldn't even care if I didn't have a photo shoot and stuff that I had booked to do without it. So with that being said,
we have tons of great barbers here in Atlanta, so I'm sure you can find someone else.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. So we will find out what, I'll keep you guys. You guys will watch the hair regrow journey. And so good night, guys. It's time to watch the art.
Follow me. I followed you, so follow me back. And,
and we will do this again soon.
Okay. See you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me.